welcome to Rising Matchday this Saturday, the 21st of August. I'm Owen Evans, here to give a rundown on the stories going into tonight's Phoenix game against Sacramento Republic. Coming up on the show. How will Rising play up top in the post-Dadashov era? We get insight on David Egbo, plus there's news on a new signing. The first casualty of the managerial sack race in the Pacific Division, but what's the picture looking like? And a familiar opponent in Sacramento Republic, 2 meetings already. What should we expect? But first, let's look back to last week's game against Orange County. The first meeting of 4 against Orange County coming just after the halfway point in the season. Rising may have had the better of the opening exchanges, but they didn't have anything to show for it. Instead, Mikko Kuningas with a deflected effort gave Orange County the lead a little after the half-hour mark. Into the second half, and OC arguably should have doubled their advantage. Ronaldo Damas with a one-on-one, but can't prevent his shot from going wide of the post. Then, at the other end, Aidan Quinn with this sliding effort that goes narrowly over the bar. Tempers flared up as the second half progressed, the temperature rising as Phoenix players ultimately aggrieved at what they perceived as time-wasting efforts by the opposition players. It may have taken until deep into stoppage time, but Rising eventually finding their equaliser. Ryan Flood's first assist on this ball in, Prince Sadie's first goal for the club as he flicks it into the net from close range on the far post. The 96th minute, but better late than never. So the final score 1-1. Here's the reaction from after the match.
I thought we got into a lot of dangerous spots in the first half, but we really lacked that sharpness, the really sharp run, a really sharp first touch, or a good shot. It was kind of like, I think the guys felt that it was just going to come, but Orange County's very, very good, very organized. They got some big guys in the middle there, and they make it difficult. But we did enough. I told the guys at halftime, it's not about tactics. It wasn't about personnel. It was just about how badly do you want to win this game. And I was pleased with the second half because they really kind of went after it, And this is what I talk about. Possession means nothing. You have to score goals in this game. And I thought there was way too many times when we broke their lines and we passed it back. And that's not Phoenix Rising football. We have to be far more aggressive. I would have liked to have seen a double the amount of shots we had.
I mean, like Coach said at halftime, it's like this game's going to take heart. This game's going to take like that 110 effort to get on the end of the ball and the end of the goal. And Prince right on key. He did that, and I'm so happy for him, happy for the team, happy for everybody here. It was a great night in the end. Can we do better? Obviously. I think we can put a few more of those in. I think we can keep that one out, but you know what? A game like that, I'll take the point.
Rick always said, like, when we're coming on, we should bring something different, Bench players, when we're coming on every time, we should add something different to the game. So that stuck with me.
It was due. I think the big change actually was Ryan Flood and Noah Billingsley for Tate and Darnell. And I told both of them, I said, I don't care if you defend at all. Just go. And putting Solo underneath as a 10, they were playing a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1, and we needed to kind of get somebody in between their two midfielders. to just occupy that space so that we could go wide. Look, we haven't done a lot of situational stuff yet. We usually wait till the second or the final third of the season. But man, the boys, every time we made a change, we got the message out to the players. They understood exactly what to do. They weren't going to stop. I think, unfortunately, we missed a few there at the end, but it felt like, we just leave it a little bit too late, before we kind of feel we have to play with more desperation, I think. If we play the whole game the way we always play the last 10 or 15 minutes, we'd be a really, really good team. I'm not saying we're not good, but we'd be even better.
So Rising pretty dominant in the end for much of the game, but struggled up top. 64% possession, 27 shots, but very little in the end that was particularly troubling. After the match, Shantz also pointing out that David Egbo not necessarily a natural in the position his side looks to play him in. So with that in mind, could we expect some tactical tweaks to better play to Egbo's strengths?
No, not necessarily. He has to learn how to play the way we want him to. When we say target 9, he's got the size and the spout and the power to do it. It's the desire or willingness to just be patient. And what a lot of people don't understand is when you come back or you make a lot of runs as a forward, someone else has to move into the space that you've vacated. And we don't really design our team that way. So it's just learning. And he knows what he's going to quickly understand over time, that he can do a lot more for us just by playing between the 6-yard box, and being patient and keeping those center backs occupied, because early in the game, he did a really good job of occupying the center backs. That's why Aiden was able to slip in between the center back and the fullback. And so was Solo and Darnell on the right-hand side. I thought we were extremely good. We just didn't get that perfect cross or that make that right decision in the final third. And we all agreed as a staff that had we scored in the first 20 minutes, that game might have been 4 or 5-0. So we're not frustrated and with David or anybody in particular. It was just one of those nights where we couldn't get that first goal.
Well, one major bit of news on the striker front, Jamaican Darren Mattox arriving on a free. He knows a few of the boys already, Aidan Quinn, Ben Lunt and Kevin Lambert, from having played alongside them in the past. He brings a lot of MLS and international football experience, but with his arrival into the Valley yesterday afternoon, he likely won't be seen tonight. Is that a bit of a relief for Sacramento?
Yeah, a little bit. He's a player we're actually talking to as well. So, got a lot of respect for him. It's a good signing for him. I'm sure he'll be successful there.
One other position that's grabbing our attention in the Rising squad, the goalkeepers. Rick Shantz earlier rotating between Andre Rolls and Ben Lunt, and recently it's looked like he's doing the same thing. Here's what he's had to say on the topic.
It's been so funny because I'm a big fan of when you play against former teams or and if there's an opportunity to give a player to play against his former team, you do it. So I don't think Ben was that bad in Las Vegas. I thought he did well. He was great with his feet. The first goal they scored, he was obstructed by Musa. He kind of like took his field of view away and, went near post up over his shoulder. Could he have saved it? Maybe. The second goal, we had nobody there and it was a blast from 6 yards away. So that would have been difficult. But overall, Ben's been very good. So, but then we play Orange County. It's Andre's old team. Andre responds really well to these type of challenges, just like when we went to Oakland, he's from the area. So that it's just worked out that both of them have gotten these opportunities and done very well. I'm still very comfortable with either one. And we're switching based on either an external factor or one of them was better in training for the week. I'm not switching just because it's their turn, and they know that. That's why they train extremely hard every day, and they try to make my job difficult.
2 draws in a row for Phoenix. With this club, that usually leads to something of an inquest from the supporters. But what has Rick been communicating to his squad as the key to getting results?
Well, obviously, defensively, we have to stay very organized. Understand certain moments when we want to get into a mid block or a low block, or when we're attacking, as we always talk about offensive defending. What does it look like? What is our defensive transition? In soccer, it's not like you're on offense and then you're on defense. You're always doing both, and you're always, a tenth of a second away from trying to win the ball back in order to attack again. So I think for us, the one thing that we've struggled with lately, in my opinion, is our speed going forward. When I think we're taking too long. When we play a penetrating pass, we're not having runs forward. We're not having players dribble forward. It's almost like we're content with possession. And that's not, as I've always told them, I said, if you guys just want to pass it around the back and have a bunch of passes and pad your stats, you won't win games. You need to take risks, and you need to go forward, and you need to try to score goals. And I think you see, when we get into these desperation moments, the talent and the ability is there, and they just have to play with that desperation, I think, from the beginning.
Well, let's take a look now at the rest of the Pacific Division. We'll start at Oakland. Merritt College, yes, a familiar pitch. It was moved there from Laney for this game. Los Dos get on the board first, Jorge Hernandez's free kick proving too much for the Roots goalkeeper. Shortly after, this game would take a major twist. Owen Lamb giving the ball away near his penalty area, and given his marching orders after committing a pretty cynical foul very quickly after. Oakland would make that man advantage count. Galaxy 2 not properly clearing their lines after this corner, Max Ornstill with a finish to draw them level. Just a minute later, no one can stop this Quincy Amarikwa ball from going across the face of goal. Johannes Harish on hand to tap it in, and that's how it would finish. Roots get their second win of the season, 2-1. We'll move on to Torero Stadium, San Diego up against Tacoma Defiance. And shortly into the game, the hosts were up. Chaos in front of the goal. Corey Herzog adjudged to have gotten the touch that gets the ball over the line, but in honesty, very hard to tell if it did actually cross the line. Factoring in, of course, the camera angle and the fact that the ball being a sphere can sometimes trick you into thinking you can see daylight. Tacoma had beaten San Diego twice before and weren't about to give up here. Ray Serrano with the ball across goal, setting up an easy finish for Alex Villanueva to equalise. Shortly after, Adenaron on a breakaway sees his shot saved, but it bounces straight to Carlos Anguiano, who tucked away to give Tacoma the lead, and ultimately the victory, 2-1. Comebacks to win 2-1, apparently the rule on Saturday. Rising must have not gotten the memo. Sacramento down early against Lights after Luis Felipe's attempted clearing header goes awry, stops his goalkeeper from getting too good hands on it, marked that one down as an own goal. But into the second half, and Vegas couldn't deal with Cameron Iwasa. First with a left-footed strike from outside the penalty area. And then here as he lifts it over the Lights goalkeeper to give Republic the 3 points. Into midweek now, Oakland travel to Albuquerque to face New Mexico United. An early start for the hosts, Oakland never really clearing their lines after this corner, and on the second ball in, Devon Sandoval gives United the lead after just 6 minutes. But Oakland would find their equaliser, while Fall with an absolute rocket of a free kick secured the point for the visitors, 1-1 the final score at Isotopes Park. Wednesday would prove the straw that broke the camel's back for Orange County. Hosting Tacoma Defiance, they found themselves down early in the game. Jackson Reagan gets up to win the header. With the clock ticking down in the first half, Samuel Adeniran with the finish, a cross goal to double Defiance's advantage. And while it already looked like they'd be leaving OC with the 3 points, this header from Marlon Vargas certainly not unwelcome for Tacoma. 3-0 the final score, that one OC coach Braden Cloutier's last in charge, having been at the club in that capacity since 2017. One last game and a pretty wild one at that, San Diego again at home, facing Lights. Corey Herzog finds Miguel Ibarra early to give the hosts a 1-0 lead. But Lights fought back, Cal Jennings swerving around the defender here to get himself an equalising goal. It took a while, but in the 70th minute, Loyal regaining the lead. Jack Blake with not too difficult a challenge in front of him to tuck that one away. And when it rains, it pours. Tumi Moshobani scoring not just one goal, but two, increasing the lead up to 4-1 to Loyal. There was one goal left in it here, 17-year-old CJ Fodry with his first professional goal to seal a 5-1 victory for San Diego. So let's take a look at the table. A pair of victories lift Tacoma up into second place in the division. Orange County's drop points, seeing the now managerless side fall into fourth. Sacramento, Galaxy 2 and Lights all close to each other just outside of the playoff spots. Advantage to Republic though, as they have the games in hand that could see them take fourth place. Meanwhile, two positive results for Root sees them finally hit double digits. A couple of games today, all kicking off at the same time as Phoenix. San Diego hosting Orange County, Las Vegas hosting Oakland, and that's about it until midweek. Not the busiest of weekends out west. So that bombshell news that Braden Cloutier relieved of his duties by Orange County after a poor run of form. But of course, tonight's opponents also had a poor run of form earlier this season. Their coach Mark Briggs saying he was shocked to see Cloutier go, but is he perhaps more grateful that his club didn't take the same course of action earlier this year?
Yeah, it's all about, that's the job we're in, right? When it's going well, everybody's singing your praises and saying you're the best this, you're the best that. But as soon as certain things go against you, everybody wants to go off with the coach. It's the coach's fault. That's just the professional. In that regard, I've never felt that pressure. Trust myself, trust my capabilities, and what I bring to the table. But yeah, to have a hierarchy and a structure at this point that doesn't react so like that is an extreme reason.
As I alluded to, Sacramento on a different kind of run of form compared to how they were doing the last time these two sides met. So should we expect it to be more of a challenge?
Absolutely. Mark Briggs is a very good coach. He's got some talented players. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, this is a good team. The best thing that's happening for us right now is everybody underneath us in the standings is still a good team, and they're going to beat each other and take points from one another. So as long as we continue to take the points that we need at home and continue to keep the lead, I think we'll be okay. A game like this with Sacramento coming to town, we beat them twice at their place. I'm sure they're extremely motivated. I'm sure, they want to prove something to us. They're very, very good guy. Cameron Iwasa's on fire right now. Formela's a very good player. Their back four is getting organized. This will be a huge challenge. And I think everyone has to realize we've hit the 16 game mark. At this point last year, the season was complete. And all of a sudden now we realize there's 14, 15 games left. It's the grind is going to hit. And we have to make sure we can push through and push forward. We had a big meeting yesterday with the staff, and talked about what we can do now to make sure the team keeps winning. Everybody around here is focused on the details and adding a little bit something to their role. So I'm excited. I think the next 6 weeks, it's time for us to push on and to get some points. So, and I also think in the next 8 to 9 weeks, we have 4 weeks where we have 3 games. So we're going to be challenged with depth, and we're going to be challenged with a lot of psychological stress. So we're ready for it. I'm glad we're in the position we're in now going into this next 6 weeks, because it's going to make it a little bit easier to keep pushing forward, because this is where we want to stay.
That's all we've got time for today. Tonight's game, a 7:30 p.m. kickoff at Wild Horse Pass. I'll see you there. Enjoy the match. Goodbye.